Our first speech this evening is Mary. Christmas is coming, and it comes with family and friends, parties and eating, shopping and gift giving. What's not to like? For some, the gift exchange has lost its appeal due to an overload of commercialism. But psychologists say that the banning of the gift exchange with loved ones is not the best idea. People who refuse to accept or exchange gifts during the holidays may be missing out on an important connection with family and friends. In her speech tonight, Mary Seiler will explain to us why we should continue giving Christmas presents. In her speech, giving is good. And with that, I heartily agree because I do enjoy receiving gifts.
It's December, the biggest gift-giving month of the year. We've got Christmas, we've got Hanukkah, and now we actually have Thanksgiving getting in on the act. I was saddened but not really surprised that retailers decided that they were going to open their doors on Thanksgiving Day this year. I thought that was pretty sad. But on the other hand, we all have the option of buying into that, attending, or not, just staying home. For some people, it really turns them off, and they decide, no more of that. We're not going to participate in this over-commercialism. And my husband and I did that a few years ago. Let's just skip the gift giving and pride ourselves on a nice, humble little Christmas at home. And it was fine. We had a good time. We enjoyed it. But for me, there really was a little something missing there. I missed the mystery and the secrets that surround Christmas and the gift giving. I missed that planning that I could do to try to figure out what my husband would really like, what would make him happy. And on the other hand, I missed wondering what was in that little box under the tree, that little something special that he was going to give to me. So we reinstituted gift giving in our house. But yet every November, my husband says to me, well, do you want to give presents this year, or do you just want to skip it? And I say, let's have presents, just a little something. Tonight, fellow Toastmasters, I'm going to give you some reasons that it's important to participate in gift giving at Christmas, and of course, all year round whenever there's an opportunity. First of all, there's the thought that giving buys you happiness. You've heard that money won't buy you happiness. Well, there's a researcher from the Harvard School of Business who took that to task, and what he found in his research was, if money doesn't make you happy, you're not spending it right. He had several studies that he did to support this, and I'm just going to share one with you briefly here. His researchers approached people just on the street and gave them one of two envelopes. One had $5 in it, one had $20 into it. Each person was told that they were told to spend the money on themselves, or they were told to spend the money on someone else. And the researcher would call them back that evening to find out how it went. They were really looking at happiness here. Those who spent the money on themselves kind of flatlined out on the happiness scale. They were really no more happy after spending the money on themselves than they were before they got the free money. But the people who spent money on someone else were just jazzed about it. That elation lasted for several hours, and they really had a good time taking somebody out and just spending money on them. So their conclusion is, if you have money, spend it wisely, spend it on somebody else, don't spend it on yourself if you want happiness. Does gift giving make us more generous? Is it contagious? The answer to that happily is yeah, it is. It is contagious. University of San Diego ran a study. They had a room of, I would imagine, 100 or 200 people. They were all broken into teams of 4s. And each person was given 20 units. We'll just call it $20, but it was probably poker chips. And they had the choice of either keeping the money for themselves or giving it to somebody else in their team. And there were all sorts of rules about what was going on with the money, too. There was a little business venture and risk involved. After the initial team of 4, then they would all break up and form new teams of 4 and go through the same process. What they found was the people who received money actually would spend it, and were 20% more, not more likely, they would spend 20% more money on the second round. So not only were they generous, not only was it contagious, they were actually more generous. For instance, if I gave Lloyd $1, Lloyd would then give Brad $1.20 in the next round, Brad would give Steve $1.32 in the next round, and so on. So it makes you happy, makes you generous, might make you a little richer too. And how does it improve our social networking? How we get along with people? And there's a very strong correlation there. And think about it, when you're going to give a gift to somebody, you really put that person in your mind and you think about them deeply. What would they like? What would make them happy? And that shows when you give them the gift, and it's a reciprocal feeling. You both feel better about each other. In this case, this will strengthen through social networking. They find that people who pay attention to one another over time will move towards the center of their social networks. Those who sort of back off and drift away move to the periphery of their social networks. And this is really important because the more social interaction you have, the more longevity you will have. So you're happier, you're more generous, you have more friends. How many more reasons would you need to spend money on gifts at Christmas time? I'd like to conclude with a personal story of mine. It concerns my oldest brother. He has done very well for himself in life, in his career. He's wealthy. Money is no longer an object for him. If he wants it, he buys it. If he wants to travel, he goes. So, not bad. But when my mother was living, she really struggled to buy gifts for him, particularly his birthday, which is December 20th. Those December birthdays always live in the shadow of Christmas, and people tend to forget about you if you're in December. She would call me up and say, well, I got him a book. I found a book on tractors or on logging, or I knit him a wool hat. Do you think he'll like it? And I'd say, yeah, Mom, I think he'll like it. Well, she passed away in 1999. And that first December, I had a real poignant conversation with my oldest brother, the man who has everything. And he said, you know, I will really miss my birthday with Mom. Because she would always call me up and have me come out for lunch at the farm. And she always had a little something for me. A little something for me to open up that she got just for me. And I like that. And I'm really going to miss it. It's contagious. It makes you happy. It makes you generous. It makes you into a good person who will live a long time. Merry Christmas. Buy a present for the ones you love.